This is Merritt Jacks from Not Your Donkey with our first dispatch from Communist Canada. The majority of Canadians are in denial about the state of their nation as it free falls in slow motion into a form of communism I call soft communism. The background and lead up to this tragic result will be provided in a future dispatch. For week one of our dispatches from Communist Canada, we are focusing on mainstream media, which the Liberal government funds to the tune of $2 billion per year. This past week, when Liberal government-funded news outlet CTV News covered the Conservative Party leader's successful leadership review, the story ended with a direct link to the Liberal Party of Canada's fundraising page. Don't believe me? Stay tuned and I will show you the evidence in a video capture I did when clicking on the link that this news agency provided. Note, there was no link to the Conservative Party's fundraising page. Funny that. So it was understandable this past week that when a spokesperson from the Canadian Media Producers Association introduced Liberal Prime Minister Mark Carney at their summit in Ottawa, many Canadians, including yours truly, naturally interpreted the event as being by and for government-funded news agencies. It was a natural mistake given how our government and the mainstream media have cozied up to each other and even censor the news.
The Prime Minister, know that every person in this room and the 180,000 people who work in this industry have your back, just as we know that you have ours.
The clip from the Canadian Media Producers event was brought to you by ex-user Melanie in Saskatchewan. And yes, it did get a lot of us riled up until we figured out what it was from. Again, the clip was not from an event for the news media, but for the Canadian media producers who are all about TV and film and so on. But the Canadians' automatic knee-jerk reaction was understandable, don't you think? Because when we hear the word media and thank you, we've got your back, Prime Minister Carney, we actually do know what's been going on because we watch what's been happening in Canadian media. Many countries like Canada do fund their nation's media outlet. That's not unusual. What's unusual is that when Justin Trudeau took office, he made sure that his Liberal government used our tax dollars to fund private, for-profit news outlets. I called this first dispatch PRAVDA news because that's basically what we have in mainstream media here in Canada. Not only does the Liberal government fund private news outlets, but they actively do their best to block and silence new media that are more conservative. Now, Trudeau is no Stalin and the Liberals aren't overt communists yet. But communism doesn't take a chokehold overnight. It takes time. It requires democratic norms to fall away one by one, slowly, and then really fast. Before Justin Trudeau became Prime Minister, he did point out that he very, very much admired dictatorships, especially China. And then in 2019, at a parliamentary press gallery dinner, our former dear leader, Justin Trudeau, pretending to joke about buying the mainstream media, clearly enjoyed the cozy PRAVDA news government relationship he'd funded. For podcast listeners, this video was tweeted by Marty up north from Alberta.
You sometimes hear about liberal bias in the media these days, how they're constantly letting our government off the hook for no good reason. Frankly, I think that's insulting. It's clear that they let us off the hook for a very good reason, because we paid them $600 million. You don't get stellar headlines like these without greasing the wheels a bit.
Now let's take a look at how very much Canadian news really does have the back of the Liberal Party and its policies, and evidently its fundraising campaign. For podcast listeners, we're seeing the news article about the very successful and happy night for the Conservative Party leader, Pierre Poilievre, who won an 87% confidence vote. For the most part, the coverage is factual. There's a happy picture of Pierre and his wife kissing each other and so on. And then we get to the last page where we learn that the Conservatives raised a whopping $48 million in 2025, which in Canada is a lot, folks. And the Liberals have raised $28 million. And here is that working link on CTV News on an article in the last paragraph that goes directly to the Liberal Party of Canada's fundraising page. There's a pop-up right there with donation suggestions of $5, $10, $25 if you just click on it. And oh, by the way, I did not. Now, as I said, no comparable link to the Conservative Party's fundraising account. Wonder why that is. And Canadians, what do you think about that? Yes, it was a natural knee-jerk reaction for a thinking Canadian to hear, "We've got your back," to a Liberal Prime Minister and instantly assume it was the liberally funded news media who had said that because, hey, they do have their back. When running a Conservative Party news story, the bought and paid for Canadian media even helps the Liberals fundraise. This is Merritt Jacks from Not Your Donkey. We who are wise to the ways of communism see it building here in this cold and vast and once incredibly lovely country. Stay tuned for next week's Dispatches from Communist Canada. Remember, if we don't protect democracy today, how will our children enjoy their tomorrows?